Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Neil Pickup, the fat lad in the mother fluffing house. And I'm joined by another of my absolute favourite arm wrestlers of all time. It's my good mate, the Steel Giraffe, Ambush, Niklas Nannestad, Sweden's finest, Sweden's tallest. If your cat gets stuck in a tree in Sweden, this is your dude, right here. Niklas, welcome to the show, mate. How's it going?
Hi. I'm fine, thank you.
I'm loving your IKEA minimalistic background there, mate. I can basically just see your head. I mean, what height is that ceiling? It's got to be like 9-10 feet. What do you have to do when you built your house? Did you make sure you got a place with high ceilings?
No, exactly. I'm not that tall.
How tall are you, mate? What are you, like 6'6"?
I think it's 6'6". It's 197 centimeters.
Yeah, so 6'5", 6'6". And
something like that.
And just so people who aren't familiar with you know, at that height, tell them what you weigh, Niklas.
I'm around 86 to 88 kilos. Yeah.
So,
I think.
A 6'6", 6'5", 6'6" middleweight arm wrestler. Quite a
85 kilos is no problem in the morning. 85, it's a good weight class for me.
I think it's fair to say, you might be the tallest middleweight in the history of the sport. I'm not sure there's been anybody bigger than that or that height.
No, maybe. I think so.
Have you ever come across anybody your height?
Yeah, actually, way back, maybe 10 years ago, a Norwegian guy. He was very tall, maybe 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. We was in the same weight class, 75, 80 kilos something, and he was taller than me.
Wow.
And he went for press, so it was different for that height to go with press.
I was thinking of Tortiev from Russia, but I don't know how tall he is. Have you ever pulled with Tortiev or been in the same room or same environment at Worlds or anything?
Nope, not what I can remember.
He's another big boy.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's interesting that you say that 85 kilo is no problem for you. You can make that with ease.
Yeah. The last 5-6 years, I haven't gained any weight. Sometimes I'm weighed 85 to 89. Never been to 90 kilo.
Wow. I have a leg that weighs 90 kilo, and it's not one that wears a shoe, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, enough of that rubbish, and it is absolute rubbish. Let's get on to the show, mate. Firstly, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate your time. How's life in Sweden at the moment?
It's okay, I think. It's different with this Corona stuff and so, but I'm living not in the town, so it's okay for me. Yeah.
And the area you're from is called Ängelholm, yeah?
Yeah, that's the nearest town, and I'm living 20 kilometers from Ängelholm, out on the countryside in the woods.
No.
So.
Beautiful part of the world, Sweden as well. I mean, if the viewers haven't been over there, what a stunning place! It really is one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's an incredible country to just tour around. It's got some unbelievable countryside.
Nice nature and stuff. Yeah.
And not many people there. Is it about 9 million or something population? I
think we're 10 now, but
10 million people.
Country.
Yes, in such a massive area. So. Anyway, mate, let's. What I wanted to do was try to sort of just let people know more about you, because most people who have come across you will probably have seen you in the World Arm Wrestling League, where you took the hammer on the left arm at your first attempt. Yeah. But I wanted to go way back before that, mate, and just sort of get the origins of Ambush. Where did you come from? Where did you originate? So, firstly, mate, was arm wrestling the first sport that you took seriously? Were there other things that you got involved with?
I started, like everybody else, in soccer when I was 5 years old to I was 15 or something. Then I went to a border school, so I didn't live at my home, and I quit playing soccer. And then I also drive motocross. Since I was a little kid, yeah. And I did this sports ATV quad, till I was around 18. Then I quit that too. But so I have been into a lot of things before, but yeah, when I was 15, arm wrestling took over more and more, so it took a lot of time to train in the beginning and so.
Did you take any of the other sports? Did you take soccer or the motocross pretty seriously? Did you go to a high level or really pursue them very seriously?
No, not really. I put a lot of time, but not on that competition level. No, more for fun and yeah. The motocross and that I don't compete at any level or so. It was just on the countryside driving around with friends nearby and yeah, have a good time. So it's not competition.
So why strength sports, Niklas? Why? Well, let's just center you up a bit, mate. Your camera's moved a little bit and moved you over that side on my screen. Just center yourself up. There we go. Yeah, just why strength sport, mate? How did you get involved in strength sport? Because with all due respect, you're the guy that you're walking down the street. You don't look the biggest, bulkiest guy, but
no?
yeah, I mean, in the right lighting, in a fat suit, you put a bit of weight on. But joking aside, mate, you are not just leverage. You've got massive strength, just top end strength. Where was your first introduction to strength sport and what made you aware that you were obviously stronger than the average guy?
Yeah, it began in school when I was 14, 15, and actually my dad, he was a pretty good arm wrestler, but not on professional level. But one of his friends, Lennart Andersson, Erika Bengtsson's dad.
Yes, I know him very well.
That's the beginning when I pulled a lot with my dad and my friends back home, and I thought I was strong. And I know of Lennart, who competing in national levels and worlds too. And I joined his place, training in his garage, and then I figured out I was pretty strong, and so I wanted to try competitions too. And my first competition was 2004, Golden Arm, I think. And I went there, I was absolute sure that I was going to win my weight class because I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
But when we get to the competition, I lost 2 matches right hand, 2 matches left hand, so no wins at all, first competition.
Who were your losses to, mate?
I can't remember, actually. There was novice from Sweden. There was no names, but then I started taking it more seriously because next time I didn't want to lose. And I had some friend from the beginning, Freddie Gunnarsson, started 2005, and we were on the same school, border school. So when we lived at that place, we didn't have anything to do when we were out of school. So then I get an arm wrestling table to our little house. And we were training all day long, 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, just arm wrestling training all the time. And then start to happen things when you go from 16 to 18 years old.
Yep.
It's a good way to start.
Sure.
Yeah. So
your introduction to the sport was really like 15 years old. That when you came out of soccer and into arm wrestling.
Yeah. Okay. When I at this border school, and it's because of Lennart Andersson, Erika's dad, and my dad, because they were close friends and had worked together in both Sweden and Germany with lumberjacking and stuff. So they used to pull with each other just for fun, and and then I joined in.
So. After that first competition, how long did you go before you competed again? Were you pretty much competing throughout that time that you were training hard with Fearless Freddy, or were you did you back off competition a little bit? Did it knock your confidence?
No, not. It's after the Golden Arm 2004. It was in February, in the beginning of the year, and I think it only was 2-3 months. Then there was a new competition in Sweden, and I went to that one too. And it didn't went very well either. Maybe I won 1-2 matches each hand, and then it was Swedish nationals, and it didn't go well that time either. And next year I had met Freddie Gunnarsson, and we became friends, and we're training more and more. And then we go to Golden Arm 2005. Then it started to happen when I can win some matches.
How was Freddie doing at that time? Was Freddie getting better success? Because he's a small man, isn't he? I mean, you're talking sort of 65 to 70 kilos. Rock strong, though. Really powerful.
His first learning process was with me, and I have already learned the basic stuff at that moment. So I teach Freddie the first year, and he became strong very quickly. Mm-hmm. And we had very good trainings, me and Freddie, for 3 years, I think, when we went to that school. Mm-hmm. But his first competition was Swedish Nationals 2005. And actually, I think he took bronze medal with right hand or something like that.
Wow,
and,
really solid.
I got 4th place, both left and right, as I can remember. Mm-hmm. And from there, from 2005, it just went upwards. 2006, both me and Freddie was undefeated in junior class, Swedish Nationals, right and left. So that's the start when it's when you got up the interest for arm wrestling, and you liked it when you get some wins too.
Of course you do, mate. And one of the most interesting thing about Sweden there, obviously, Sweden is well known. You've got some real prominent figures in the world of arm wrestling, most of whom, it has to be said, most of whom have tended to be female pullers. Mm-hmm. Some of the very best female arm wrestlers of all time have come out of Sweden. Heidi Andersson, the one on, way back before that, Carolina Peterson, you had, for so many years, in so many areas, Sweden have been a dominant force in ladies. Anna Peterson, way back, that was like late 80s, early 90s, before your time, I think. She was rock strong as well. Back
I never met her.
Cobra was dominant. Oh, mate, she was iron dick. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Really strong. Solid. Winning world titles, You've then got Heidi, was sort of the next generation on from that, when Marlin came involved.
Yeah.
Love this Marlin, man. Thea Rasic. Love Thea. What a beast. The incredible Sarah Bachman. But there are so many more that people don't know, and that's the interesting thing, isn't it? So many arm wrestlers from Sweden in the ladies and the men's, and it's almost, I don't want to say a shame, but it is almost a bit of a travesty that some of the focus that should be on and could be on some of the top male arm wrestlers gets lost or overshadowed by the achievement of the females, who are truly exceptional in the field. But that's not to say that there aren't some rock-strong Swedish men. If you look over time, the one that sticks out without a doubt, Andreas Rundström. You had Sharon based there, although he's Israeli. He was based there. Dick Evers was another guy who had a lot of success at international level. One of my favourite pullers, Roine Eklund. Roine, fabulous arm wrestler. Arm wrestler. Anders Carlson was a very well-travelled puller, respected and did very well and particularly on his left arm. So there's been so many. Tommy Cocker, another one of my favourites, Johan Lindholm, the Belgian Blue. Love that guy. What a wonderful bloke he is. And a lot of these guys aren't known names. They're not household names. Is there sort of a feeling, or was there a feeling back then that you were swimming upstream a little bit in terms of getting recognition there because the girls over in Sweden are so good?
Yeah, not really, because I did my thing, and we had those names, as you mentioned, like Andreas Rundström and these guys to look up to, and I always had Andreas as my favorite puller, and he was still active when I from 2004 to 2010, 12, he was active and really good. So
when you see Andreas, give him a slap. Tell him I want another fight with him and Jonas in a hotel, because of the fact that I've already messaged you. Andreas, if you're watching this, message me back, mate. And hope to Christ it's actually you, because I've messaged somebody and told them to get their ass on the show. I want Andreas on the show, obviously. One of my all-time favourite arm wrestlers. Andreas and Pascal Girard are absolute musts for me. People want to know guys. Tell us sort of your inspiration from that perspective, mate, in terms of Andreas and what his involvement in your career has been.
Yeah, when you look back at that time, you can see that almost everybody want to do the same thing as Andreas. Everybody stood like him, long from the arm and did his thing. And
not only in Sweden, was it, as well? It was so many places, that old top roll style that he did so well.
Yeah, many tried that thing because it worked very well for Andreas, and it's a unique style. So it doesn't work for so many, I think. But he had get good inspiration to many Swedish pullers and international too. And for me, he was the goal to beat Andreas. But when I did, I really felt sorry to beat him because he was I didn't want to, beat my idol, you know.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like, okay, he was not on his top, and I was getting better and better, and he was on the other side, getting But when I win, I felt very, very happy, of course, and afterwards, a little bit sorry for him too, because I took his place. It felt like that when I had beat him.
Yeah, you became sort of the flagship arm wrestler, but in some respects, maybe Andreas was ready to sort of pass the torch a little bit there. He'd been, like you say, he hadn't been pursuing the sport as
I think so. He was,
back in the day, he was mega.
When I beat him, he was not that active. He went to 2 or 3 competitions maybe, and it was more for fun and then to be the best because he had that time behind him. So
my favourite years. I mean, everybody talks about Andreas in 1996 and the win at the Yukon Jack, but even before that, 93, 94, he was mega.
Yeah,
absolutely mega. I loved watching Andreas back then. You know, he was so solid and such a wild mother fluffer. Him and Jonas, such good blokes. They're proper blokes. They're just lads, aren't they? They're great. Absolutely fantastic.
They are 2 brothers, and he has been in the shadow for Andreas, like Bill and John Bersank. Same thing, I think. Really good arm wrestler, Jonas Rundström. But Andreas has, I think, always been better. So he's getting all the attention.
And like you say, 2 solid guys. I really have a lot of time for Jonas and Andreas. They're good lads. You know, if you ever really go out and just have a drink with them, as you know, they're just really solid lads, aren't they? You know, I don't know why we always seem to end up fighting in some hotel room. I don't imagine why that happened. You're involved. Yeah, bad idea as well, fighting 2 Rundström brothers at the same time. Hurts. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. But, we had a lot of fun. But there were other guys, obviously, at that time in Sweden, but they didn't have that same notoriety. Andreas, if you sort of chart it back, as being probably the guy that who was the torchbearer. And I'm going to say you're the next. You're the next guy that's gone out there and really garnered that international holy moments. I don't want to get ahead of us in that respect, ahead of ourselves in terms of what we're trying to cover here. But at what point in your career would you say that there was sort of the first indications that was going to be the case? When was the first buzz around you, Nick? When were people saying, where were you aware that people were excited about your potential?
It started pretty early, but when you called me and asked for the first Armwrestling event, that was okay. Now it's happening when I can go international and do the real deal.
Yep.
And I think it's probably there it started. After that, I went to many competitions all around the world, but there were almost was maybe the 3rd, 4th time I went international to compete, and that was big for me, and I think that gave me a lot.
Yeah, I came across you initially from conversations with Marlin, And with some of the other Swedes, I was asking about top class Swedish pullers and said, oh, keep your eyes open for this guy. He's really tall. I think you'll love him. I started watching and trying to keep my eye on sort of domestic competition and see where I could spot you. And as soon as I did see you competing, I thought, oh, I love this dude. The whole style, the lay-back ambush style, that sort of counter arm wrestling. I thought it was wonderful. And obviously you never disappointed when you came over to the Arm War Super Series. You were involved in some absolute epic matches, man.
Yeah, I know.
Holy, there were some. What was your sort of earliest memories of Arm Wars? Where were the ones, or over that period of time in the early years, were you sort of thrown out of your game a bit by super matches? Had you pulled super matches before, or was that your first ever super match?
I think I pulled a super match before with Stefan Nordstrom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 65 kilo and I was 75. It was, in the beginning of my career when I started getting good, and I was heavier than him, but we did a super match, 6 rounds. I think they got it from Armwars, the format, but that was the first time, and so one time before I go to Armwars, I pulled a super match.
And what was your first Arm Wars experience like, mate? Did you enjoy that compared with tournament format?
Yeah, I was so nervous, so I'm still shaking from when I was at Trafford Center and she walked down that the ladder and onto the big stage, and it was unlike everything else I had done. So I was really nervous, but afterwards, so fun.
I mean, it's fair to say, I think you came into Arm Wars about 5 or 6 years in. And when we were at the Trafford Centre, it was really starting to get booming there in terms of the super match steel, because we'd got the Eurosport deal signed at that point. We were to sort of 80 plus countries. We had the massive venues. I'd say the Trafford Centre was in its probably 4th or 5th year. But it had moved from tournament format to pure super match. And we were getting big crowds there. We were getting big followings. You were getting sort of 15,000 people in the Orient, and there was a real buzz around. But for you to come in sort of at the Trafford Centre, which was the signature event of the entire series, must have been quite good. And yourself and Freddie, I think, were on the same card, weren't you, that year?
I think so. Yeah, we were. Yeah. We were there 2 times in a row, I think. The first time I pulled Andy Barker.
Yeah.
And,
I remember you ruined that homecoming party.
What?
I remember you ruined Andy Barker. Andy had been out of the sport for about 2 years, and he was just returning to the sport, his first event back. Yeah. And I thought, we'll match 2 tall top rollers, and you absolutely killed him, decimated him.
Yeah, that's the first Armwars, and the most memorable was, I think, the year Trafford Centre when Michael Todd and Devon Larratt, they pulled. That's the same time I pulled Frode for the first time in Armwars. So
what a match!
So,
that was iron, wasn't it? I mean, for anybody watching, if you haven't seen that match, the first time they pulled Arm Wars, the event was called Acid Rain. You'll see it on armwars.com. Check that for a match. Frode Haugland, relentless Frode Haugland, Norway's finest, against Sweden's finest in an absolute career-ending death war. I think it actually ended 3-3, didn't it, mate?
I think so. Both left and right.
I mean,
remember it. Yeah.
What a war. I mean, you've pulled some animals
for the 7th match, the Silver Bullet. No, we both said we were
done. Forget it. Absolutely ruined. You had so many hard matches in there. I mean, you pulled with Craig Sanders. I think that ended up a 3-3, didn't it, as well? That was another
first time 3-3
match. I know you pulled... did you pull Niklas Matiashvili or Soso Imilishvili? You pulled one of the Georgian guys.
Yeah, Soso. Yeah.
I know you pulled some monsters. And you also pulled Zanger, didn't you? Martin Zanger. Yeah. What was your hardest ever match in Arm Wars, mate?
The hardest that I lost or did I win?
You did both.
I think I have to be some of the Frode matches, the toughest. He's so intelligent to pull it, because you can win 2 matches in a row and think, now I got him, and then the next match he's just back in the game, and you never know with Frode. He's never giving up. Yeah, you know. So he's very difficult opponent because you have to be absolutely ready every match and not giving him an inch. So some of the match with Frode and all the guys you mentioned, so English really was brutally strong. I was shocked myself that I could stop him and win over him. And Cobra Roads in both in Lake Tahoe and I think that's my best match ever that I lost. Mm-hmm. I was very proud of that match, even if I lose 4-2. So, and then Yanis Amolins in London and Raymond Antonovic, good matches too.
And two amazing wins. You know, for the record, if you watch Arm Wars Uprising, right arm match with Yanis Amolins, left arm match with Raymond Antonovic of Top 8 fame, both wins. Niklas took out both those guys on an absolutely outstanding weekend at the Rise Club. And again, it's quite a nice memory for me.
Yeah,
you know, to think back on. Well, it is, because it was a real journey we went on with Arm Wars. I mean, we were literally everywhere. We were all over the place, and the matches there were some just ridiculous arm wrestling. You know, I don't think you'll see better anywhere in the world. Ever.
No,
you know?
I agree. It was really good time. Very good matches and entertaining to watch too, I think.
And the atmosphere. It was like a family atmosphere. The whole thing was just buzzing, you know. Mm-hmm. But talk to me about Cobra Rhodes match. Because you pulled Cobra more than once. You pulled him in Arm Wars at high stakes. You pulled him. Was it 3 times you guys met or twice?
Twice
You met.
First time was Lake Tahoe. 2011, 12, I think. And that was after I've been to Arm Wars. I think it's because of you I got to that place too.
Yeah.
And it was almost like first time in Arm Wars. Very nervous and going to US to compete at that level. And super match against Cobra Rhodes. So I didn't know what to expect. And it was really good event. And awesome match. They were very, very equal matches, and same thing like Frode. One win, you didn't know what happened next match. Mm-hmm. Some guys you win one match and then you do exactly the same thing 5 times in a row, then you will win 6-0. But not against Cobra or Frode or intelligent guys like this.
I mean, they're so different, and yet they've got so many things in common, because it's the never say die attitude. Also, I think the range of elastic limit that those guys have, their elasticity is off the scale. I mean, you can put Cobra off-roader into the worst position in the world, and it's not over. I mean, Cobra, you'd think a guy of your height and leverage, when you top roll someone, that'd be it, job done. But Cobra's got such an enormous range of control in his hand and wrist, and the length of his forearm is truly off the scale, isn't it? I mean, length from wrist to knuckle is off the scale. Huge hand for his weight.
Really huge, yeah.
I mean, how did that feel, mate, in terms stylistically? What was it like to pull Cobra back then?
Yeah, I think I underestimated him, even if I know who he was, and he was a legend in arm wrestling. I didn't think he had that big hands and that he was that strong wrist, because I think with my height and leverage, I can almost top roll everybody, I thought. But when he came up against guys like this, you don't know what to do in the first time. But when you're so focused and the match starts and you stop the guy, and you go from there.
When you started your career, Niklas, because we've seen most of your career has been spent with that counter-attacking top roll style. But when you first came into the sport, was that sort of your natural inclination to go towards that movement, or did you start with a different style?
Actually, I started to be very, very aggressive and offensive, to be very quick and explosive in the starts. That's in the tournaments. I think I can save much energy to go very quick, and that's what I have been doing for the first 5 to 10 years, and to save energy for tournaments. But when you meet some guys that are stronger and same strength as yourself, and the match stops, then it doesn't work the same way to just be explosive. Mm-hmm. Because if you're too fast, you lose your angles, and you are too quick with your body. So that's when I started to do more defensive, like I started in armors and some years before, to catch the hand. When the other guy hits, I catch him to go the opposite direction, and it works out pretty good.
So the next match with Cobra was in Arm Wars High Stakes.
Yeah.
How'd that go? Talk to me about that match.
Yeah, that was, I think, 2-3 years later, and I was in that way in my career, and I think now I'm much stronger than last time, and Cobra is probably weaker than last time, so I was pretty confident that I would win 6-0 against him that time, but he shocked me in the first match, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think he got my wrist. I was too offensive and too quick, so he got my hand in the start, and he pinned me, and then I think I had Anders Carlson in my corner, and we talked for that minute, and I changed something, and then when I stopped him with my wrist on the right side, not this, then I could bleed him out better, and I think the first match I win was in a press against him. And then, if I remember, it was incredible. Yeah. I was so angry of the first loss, so I think I don't care. I just have to beat him. So I pressed him down with dead wrist in the end. I thought like this, and then.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen you do that a few times, mate. I mean, is that something you train? Have you practiced? Is that one of the sort of weapons in your arsenal that you'd write down if you were doing your arm wrestling technical resume?
Yeah, maybe, but only on competitions, never on trainings. I train like this or try to do that. It's painful, to do that on training. So it's like the last thing I can do on competition when I can't go nowhere else, and it has worked out a few times. Pretty good, actually. Both left hand and right.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? You're one of those sort of, along with the guy...
I did that too, I think.
Did you? You got him in the press? Well.
Yeah. He got my wrist, I think, almost every match. The first 2 or 3, at least. Wow. And I think I beat him like that.
Well, absolutely. Are you more proficient at that with one arm or the other? Is it better on your left, or doesn't make a difference? You can do it on both arms well.
I can do it on both, but I think I'm better in left with it because I have less pain in my left arm. The right is really getting better now, but when I do it in my right arm, I know next match can be the last match if I do that in my right arm. Left arm I never had any injuries or pain or whatever, so I can go almost every style with my left.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, you're one of the sort of rare breed of elite arm wrestlers who have the ability to transition left, right arm, and your level seems to be world class regardless, either one. I mean, on the day we were talking about before where you pulled Cobra in Arm Wars High Stakes, you also had another barnstormer with Brent Rakers.
Yeah.
That was another absolute killer, wasn't it? I mean, again, get on the armwars.com.
I remember what was Neil thinking when he put me with that monster. It was like, it looked like 100 kilo and massive. But,
Brent Rakers is an absolute rock. I mean, and an athlete. If you look at Brent at that time, the guy looked like he was ready, didn't he? I mean, he came in great condition, physically stacked.
But I was the underdog, and I think that was in his brain too, that he can't lose. And I felt like if I can win one match, it's a win for me. So I think that,
It was very intense, that match, wasn't it? It was one of those like ultra intense. You were both wound up all the time. Hell of a match, mate. Absolutely awesome. I mean, you're a pretty calm arm wrestler, aren't you? You're not the guy that usually gets too wound up or overly aggressive in matches. You don't shout and scream too much. Maybe on the pin, but you don't usually sort of give it to people verbally, do you? It's not your style.
No, it's not. It has happened without knowing it, but not usually. Maybe the last centimeters to the pad, a little shout, but that's it. When did you pull Undeniably in the Golden Arm? Undeniably. When was that? I pulled him 2 times. The first time, 5 years ago.
Did you beat him? Did you get a win on him out there?
No.
He beat you both times.
Close matches.
Battles though, weren't they? Yeah. I seem to recall you were.
The first time it was, I think, I remember it was pretty close matches. Second time he was bigger and stronger, and I think I gave him a little bit in the left, but nothing in the right. So.
Yeah, obviously, some of these matches people may not be aware of because it didn't happen on the big stage, but that was a tremendous match with yourself and Undeniably for the first time around. And so many other things in your career you've achieved and people you've beaten that it's gone under the radar. And then I'll be speaking to someone and they'll say, "Oh yeah, Nick beat this guy," and you're like, "No, you've got the ability to do well with big men, obviously because of the." What would you say was your most impressive wins in your early career, Niklas?
In the really early career, it was Stefan Nordström, and there was a guy from Switzerland, Stefan Hippin. Then Pascal Girard was pretty early too, before 2010 at least. When I beat Andreas 2009, I think it was.
That was
the first biggest name, and that's how all started. Then you called me.
Yeah. And when did the rival with Relentless Frode Haugland get cracking? Because it's fair to say that watching you two guys come up on the arm war circuit, you were like brothers. I mean, you really, you obviously got a real close affinity there. Even when you were at the World Armwrestling League, you could see that sort of bond between you guys. You travelled all over the world on the arm war circuit. You went to war and left it all on the table, but you were always really good mates.
Yeah. First time was in, I think it was maybe Golden Arm 2006 or something. I pulled him, but at that time we didn't know each other. And I think he won that one. But then a few years later, when I was getting a name in Sweden, and I was one of the top guys in Sweden, he was the top guy in Norway. We pulled in Nordic competition somewhere outside Oslo, I think. And when it was time for me and Frode to pull, there was a pretty big noise in the audience when Sweden versus Norway, and we were around 20-22 at that time. So, I don't know if I win on right or left, or we got one wins each, I remember. And when they say ready, go, I remember still the lights in the whole arena was wiped out. It was total black for like 2 seconds. I think it was the power between us, maybe.
Yeah, you took out the electricity. Awesome stuff, mate.
Before we pulled every match, I pinned every opponent very quick and easy. And when Frode had a match against some other guy, he took his guy, and then he looked out in the audience at me, and the smile at me, and just pinned the other guy. So he was tried to get in my head.
Did it work? Did he ever get in your head?
No, not really. It didn't. It was a great match, that one too, actually. And I think it was 1-1 that time.
I mean, your styles are so opposing, but you match up as well as anybody in the history of this sport. I mean, 99.9 times that you guys meet at an arm wrestling table, it is just ace. It's absolutely fantastic to watch. The fact that you pulled to 2 3-3 draws right and left arm in arm in Feeble Power and Trafford Centre says it all. I mean, that's, it's 6 round matches. You're ending them 3-3. It's just bananas. Absolutely bananas, mate. Is that sort of, do you think that's where the respect comes from, that you both clearly share?
Yeah, I think so, because before the competition, no one really knows who's going to win the other day. And we're at pretty the same level. So maybe that's where the respect is. I think so.
Do you guys ever train together? Have you ever trained together?
Never trained together, no. One time we went to Norway on his birthday party. He wasn't, he didn't know about it. It was his girlfriend who contacted me when he was turning 30.
Okay.
Can you come over to Norway and celebrate Froda? Yeah, sure. So me and my wife and Glenn and Erica, we hit the plane and go to Norway. And Froda didn't know anything about it.
Thanks.
So he didn't know anything about a party at all. So we came into the place and we had an arm wrestling table up on the stage, and then all the guys were there, and then they took Froda in, and they have a mask over his head, so he had no ID, and just placed him at the arm wrestling table, and with me the other side. So then they started the match, and we started to pull, Then he just took off his match and so that was good time.
Absolute quality. Yeah, that's fantastic. That kind of memories are awesome. You cannot buy that. Really stuff.
Yeah. So.
Ladies and gents, that brings us to the end of this first episode with Ambush Niklas Nannestad. But there will be more from the Steel Giraffe, so don't go anywhere. If this is your first time here on Supernatural Strength Channel, guys, please like, share, subscribe, let everybody know about it. And as I say, we'll be back with more from Niklas Nannestad in part 2 of his story very soon. Till that time, take it easy, peeps.